counterproductive because many of them died from infections. This led to the donation of this burn intensive care unit. It is a specialized state-of-the-art medical facility that provides advanced care for patients who have sustained severe burns.
As we all know, healthcare is a basic human right, even though that may not reflect in our society all the time. Yet, it's far from being equally accessible to all of us. So, the onus is on us all, as responsible citizens of this country, to bridge this gap and provide quality health care to those who need it most.
This is a teaching hospital. Federal government cannot shoulder the responsibility of hospitals alone. That is what we know, but that is also costly. And illness is no respect of any status or creed. Everybody can be here anytime. But the availability of those things to be used to cater for that person is very important, very crucial. Please let us come to the aid of our health sectors.
In his remarks, Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, represented by his Commissioner for Health, Amina El Imam, says partnership with the private sector is the model of modern healthcare financing.
Collaborative efforts like this bring together resources, expertise, innovation, and through education, proper first aid, and specialized medical care, which this new wonderful center will provide, we can together reduce the incidence, complications, and impact of burn injuries to the residents of Kwara State, all of Nigeria, indeed West Africa and the rest of the world.
The burn intensive care unit is expected to enhance healthcare delivery at the teaching hospital. Ibrahim Alige, TVC News, Ilorin.
All right, gentlemen, from what we see in that video, this marks a significant milestone in the healthcare sector of UITH. BKO.
Yes, it also shows the extent that we can go if we work with private individuals, with the private sector to improve on infrastructure in our country. That is road infrastructure, health infrastructure, or education infrastructure. Government cannot do it alone. In this case, Alhaji Sharif Shagaya, son of billionaire Madam Bola Shagaya, built this intensive care unit. And what we have seen is a family transforming a negative experience to opportunities for healing and for real growth. He lost his paternal grandmother to a domestic accident. She was severely burnt and she died. Sharif then thought, okay, this is a painful experience, but how do we ensure that people who find themselves in such a situation get an opportunity to continue to live their lives? So we decided to build this burn-intensive unit at a cost of 250 million. You can imagine when an individual sets aside his money, 250 million, to give back to the society. I mean, this is a young man that needs to be praised for what he has done, and he is not somebody who enjoys the clear lights, the limelight. He didn't even grant an interview. Meaning that he merely did, just look at the interior, he merely did this just to give back to the society. He's not interested in the noise that comes with it and all the attention grabbing a front page opportunities in newspapers, and he just felt, look, this was the right thing to do. There's nothing like it in our country for now. Yes, I'm talking about you will find units of hospitals better equipped, but in terms of a unit dedicated to treating people who have suffered burns, no, you are not going to find anyone in this class. So we need more of such facilities, and I really want to thank Alhaji Sheriff for what he has given back to his community in Ilorin, Kwara State, and I also appreciate the leadership of the University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital for agreeing to the request of the donor of the unit to have it named after his grandmother, Alhaja Batuli Ajiferuke Shagaya. So I wish the young man Godspeed. This certainly won't be his last intervention, but what he has done deserves not just commendation, but replication by other people who are rich. Those rich people going to Dubai to buy flats. That's what Nigerians are
investing in other countries.
Yes. They'll steal money in our country and go to Dubai. They are buying flats. They are not even buying pieces of land. They just buy flats. That's what we are doing to ourselves.
All right, Adoye. One of its kind in the country. How significant is this?
Well, I think in the first instance, health is one of the most important aspects of human life. No matter how rich you are, if there's no good health, your money comes to nothing. And then when you look at health care, in terms of provision of health care, it's very lowly, in Africa and Nigeria especially. And then when we are talking about burns, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who suffer burns every year, every week, either from natural accidents, fire, gas, or even acid burns, coming out from domestic violence. And what we have seen over the years is that some of them become permanently disabled. Some continue to suffer trauma throughout their lives. Some don't have access to surgical procedures, because when you have burns, it's a multi-health care that you need. It involves trauma treatment, it involves surgical operation. So a lot of Nigerians, apart from the fact that they cannot afford that opportunity, they don't have the money, to. And this burn center, I understand, is the best in the country. In the whole of northern Nigeria, there's nothing like that. And in this country, there's nothing like that. It costs about 250 million naira. So I think it's a lifelong investment, an individual. And if you see, when we are talking about development in Europe, it's not just about government alone.
Absolutely.
Communities put into their society. Individuals put into their society. It's not every time you expect government to come and provide roads, provide hospital, provide toilets. Communities must also know that they need to invest in their own future. And we're talking about Rockefeller, Ford Foundation, and all that. They were individuals that put in their lifetime investment into promoting, livelihood and, empowering people. This is not the first time he has done it. He has done several things that clearly indicates that he's a man of the people. There was a time he gave 10,000 naira to about 500 traders. So you can see that this man is truly a man of God. And if we can emulate, if our rich people can emulate him, to minimize the social tension, the conflict, everybody calling on government to do this and all that, if individuals can put in, it will go a long way to solve the contradictions in our society. So I'm really happy for him. He's going to also create employment for people. And people will come in, and this is even medical tourism. I see people coming from West African countries for treatment. So it's a great investment.
I think that's the lesson to take away from this.
Yeah.
Philanthropists, wealthy people can partner with federal government to bring to life such interventions.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on. A pattern of seizures of large quantities of contrabands is emerging to send chills down our spines. Security agencies are keeping vigilance to deter smugglers. In another round of seizures, the Apapa Command of the Nigeria Customs Service intercepted 7 containers carrying expired drugs, 12,000 pieces of cutlasses and machetes, as well as 4,129 packages of frozen chicken imported into the country. The Customs Area Controller of Apapa Command, Babatunde Olomu, said the seizures valued at about 292.24 million naira are in line with the policy thrust of Controller General of Customs on zero tolerance for smuggling. In the same vein, the Cross River and Akwa Ibom Command intercepted 26,625 liters of petrol at different locations, valued at 40.05 million naira. The seizures were made at the Zone C axis by a special task force called Operation Whirlwind. Let's share the story by TVC News. Ifunaya is it with you.
Showcasing the seized containers of thousands of machetes and expired medicaments, Comptroller Babatunde Olomu stated that the items violate the revised import prohibition list and the Nigeria Customs Service Act of 2023, lacking proper import procedures and end-user certification.
12,000 cutlasses. I mean, I wonder the kind of farming that that will be put into. So that's why things like this, importation like this, require end-user certificates issued from the Office of the National Security Advisor. You know, there are security challenges here and there, and the government will want to be sure that the purposes for which these weapons, these cutlasses are being put into are the ones that satisfy the law.
Explaining how the containers of frozen poultry products were intercepted, Comptroller Olomu highlighted how the deployment of customs advanced tools and intelligence collaboration with other agencies aided in tracking the shipments from their points of origin.
It beats my imagination while someone will invest his money in the purchase of frozen poultry product that had spent like 1 year. If you check the manufacturing, the date since it was produced is close to a year. So you now wonder why Nigerians will wish to patronize this kind of product. So government in its wisdom banned the importation of frozen poultry. One, because of the health hazard it poses to the citizens, and secondly, to encourage local production.
Handing the seized consignments over to officers from the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control for further investigation and regulatory action, Comptroller Olomu warned that only cargoes meeting integrity and compliance parameters will be allowed through Nigeria's ports. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
The seizure, worth over 40 million naira, was made by operatives of Operation Whirlwind, a joint effort between the Nigeria Customs Service, the Office of the National Security Advisor, and the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Comptroller Hussaini Ejibono revealed that operatives closely monitor the supply and distribution chain of petroleum products to prevent diversion.
Today, we have another seizure of 1,065 kegs of PMS containing 25 liters each, which translates into 26,625 liters of PMS, together with one means of conveyance, with a total DPV value of 40,054,125 naira only.
This vigilance led to seizures in multiple locations across Agbara-Agba-Ekom, Akansoka Road, and Ekom-Ogojo Road, despite challenging riverine terrains in the South-South and South-8 region. Earlier, Comptroller Cross River Akwa Ibom Free Trade Zone Area Command Zone C's Chukwudi Ogbonna emphasized the command's robust synergy with surrounding communities. He commended the collaborative efforts which have yielded remarkable successes over the years.
The communities, we try to sensitize them we try to tell them the effect of this smuggling, what happens to the country. Then we try to build community social responsibility.
The Nigeria Customs Service has warned members of the smuggling cartels to desist from their illegal activities and engage in legitimate businesses, vowing to continue to go after them as economic saboteurs.
We urge members of the PMS smuggling cartel to have a rethink and better go into legitimate businesses, because we will continue to go after them as economic saboteurs, as there is no place for illegal activities.
These later seizures comes barely 2 weeks after inauguration of the special operation on 31st May 2024. Tina Akweke, TVC News, Calabar.
All right, gentlemen, two different reports here. BKO, but really, who patronizes expired products?
Oh, of course, you won't know it's expired. These things are sometimes repackaged, and then sold to people. Sometimes people buy stuff without, even drugs, without expiry dates on them, as a way of wrong-footing the buyer. So nobody would deliberately buy and consume something that he knows can take his life. But the people buy turkey, for example, frozen turkey. How many of them do their research to know whether what they sold to them is a year old? You see the women cutting it, they tear the pack, they tear the carton, they start cutting. You don't ask questions. You don't tell them, give me the pack, let me see what's on it. You don't ask those questions. You don't. If you say you do, you are lying. You don't. We just buy straight from them. We don't know. We don't ask questions. They send bags of rice to Nigeria. Some of those bags had been in their warehouses for more than 3 years. In their country, they do not permit people to consume such rice. They send such rice to their feed mills, and they will now be used for animal feed. But they send it to Nigeria. We consume it. We are excited that we are consuming foreign rice, whereas what you are actually consuming is poison because it's been there for too long. And that is what this customs controller is saying, that how do you sell frozen food 3 years old from the day it was produced to the ordinary Nigerian? People would do all kinds of things to make money in our country. And even frozen foods have been banned because government thought, okay, if we ban it, we'll be able to deepen production in our country. Because Nigeria is the hub in West Africa. Go to Ibadan. That is the hub for poultry production in our country. And all of those big companies, the rest of them, they are there. Ajanla, all of them. Ibadan is their home. That is the hub. Some are setting up bases even in Iwo now, because our country is the hub for poultry production on the West Coast. But importation, unrestrained importation, would make life difficult for people who are involved in local production. And that's why textile farms found it difficult to survive, because in the past we had those textile farms. You go to Kaduna, people like Oshomole, he was a textile worker. Yes. I did my youth service in Kaduna and I started work there. I remember when Oshomole was at Arewa Tex, and sometimes he would come to our office to say, please, help me use this story. Wow. Yes. There was a picture that a friend of mine said he would send to me, that Oshomole and myself and one other person snapped together in 1992. So he was making fun of me that if I see the picture, I won't believe it's me. I'm waiting for him to send that picture. So,
like
but today, today those textile farms are dead. They are dead. Kakuri in Kaduna was like a city created for textile workers. I lived there. People resident in that area were either staff of KTL, staff of UNTL, or staff of Arewa Tex. Today, where are those textile farms that provided jobs for people? Textile farms that after government, after the federal and state governments, they contributed the highest number of employed people. Where are they? They are dead because the friends of people in government, I remember challenging Dangote. I said, your I think it was in 2013, I said, your textile farm was the 4th biggest in Nigeria. Why did you suddenly shut it down? He laughed. He said, I thought you were my friend. That the friends of the biggest smugglers in our country are in government. So nobody tried to stop them from bringing in foreign textiles, voiles, and the rest of them. And they made life unbearable for local producers of textile. Today, where are the textile farms? In Kaduna Polytechnic, where I did my youth service, I taught HND1 textile technology. Because at that time, there was employment for people seeking to go into textile production. So those who read textile technology, the jobs were waiting. I taught that class. I taught them general studies. Today, the textile farms are gone. Their warehouses, in some cases, have been taken over by churches. Warehouses of big companies today in Nigeria, churches have bought them. You know? So that's why we are where we are. We cannot continue. And the rate at which PMS is being smuggled in our country, I'm truly worried. There is scarcity in some places, scarcity that is pushing the price of PMS to go up. It is because some people have seen now that the CFA is stronger than the Naira. So they are now involved in massive smuggling of PMS because they will make more money across the border. Because our currency is weak. Our currency is weak. So if you are selling it here at maximum 800, they are going to sell at 1,200 to our neighbors. That is what is going on. You can see the rate at which they are seizing kegs of petrol. We didn't have it about 4 months ago.
That's correct.
It is. It has a link with the depreciation of our currency on a scale that none of us could have predicted. I never thought, and I've said it before on this program, that a day will come that the CFA will be stronger than my country's currency. It's something that puts me to shame personally. And I expect the people at CBN, whose job it is to sort out issues like this, to do something about it. Why should the Naira be going to 1,600 Naira to $1? That's why people are shipping our grains across the border. You go to Yobe, go to Katsina, all of these border states with Niger Republic, they are taking our grains across the border, and you are saying food is expensive. It's not simply because of insecurity alone. The fact that people know that they will make more money by taking grains across the border, it has really caused so much smuggling of our farm produce. So we need to sort out even the matter of our currency.
Okay.
It will reduce the hunger to take Nigerian products across the border. And these things, the government has banned, for example, taking grains across the border. But our people think that they will make more money, so they will need some stopping, because they know they will make a lot of money if they can do it. All
right, Adeoye. So while you react to that report, BQ has raised so many issues now. our love for foreign goods at the detriment of our own, and smugglers in power, we will continue to do everything possible to frustrate local producers.
Yes. I think, first of all, we need to commend the efforts of Alhaji Bachi Adewale Adini, the Comptroller General of Customs. I can see that almost every month there are reports. Of course, his predecessors also did well. Colonel Ali, he did very well. And I think he has sustained that tempo. You recall that in 2002 he was conferred with the order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, member of the order of the Federal Republic by President Buhari. Because earlier in 2020, he was the one that supervised the discovery for about $8 million cash that some people wanted to take out of Nigeria through the wing of Murtala Mohammed Airport. So I think he has a very good record, and it's showing clearly, just as what you are seeing in NDLA, that Marwa is doing. So it shows clearly that if you do put the right people in the right place, you are going to get results. So, and he said that they use diligent enforcement and intelligence in order to be able to discover some of these things that they are seeing. And some few months ago, when he came to power, he said he was going to work with local communities for intelligence. And I think we are seeing that result. So I'm convinced that if you have good people, put them in a position of power, they'll be able to help the country to overcome some of our problems. What we have seen clearly is that 12,000 cutlasses brought from China. I'm still wondering what is the mission of those who brought those cutlasses. And then the drugs were brought in from India. And then Turkey, 4,129 packages from Turkey, frozen chicken. You see, what usually happens to this frozen chicken, that they will inject them with a lot of chemicals that can cause a lot of, with very harmful implications for human health, including cancer. So, and there's no way you will know when you go to the market to buy some of these products. And that's why people who do this, just like Babajide said, when they bring these expired drugs, they are very harmful. And that's how you find out that you have malaria, you begin to use medicine for a whole month. It refuses to go.
To use it,
They start wondering that what is the problem. So it's a kind of, it's more or less like, almost equal to genocide, because thousands of, hundreds of thousands of people will, use these drugs that are expired. So I think I'm happy with the job the Comptroller General of Customs is doing. We need to encourage him. We need to give him more support. Working within a very difficult environment. Nigeria has about 86 borders that are manned, and about 86 land borders, and then 14 seaports that are manned. We have about 1,400 unmanned illegal routes. So it's working with a very difficult environment. In spite of that, you can see that it's making gains. So I think it needs our support. I'm happy with what the good job it is doing. And I think it's a huge asset to this government, because customs is very strategic to national security. This is where people bring in arms, bring in all sorts of deadly weapons, and for them to even
national income too.
Yeah, national income, to the economy, to politics, to security. If people have the confidence to bring in these things through the cost, that means that it's what they have been doing in the past, and they feel that, look, when we get there, we're going to buy our way. But I think things are changing now. There's not going to be business as usual. So I commend his efforts, and I think Nigerians should give him more support.
And even his staff, say, looking into his eyes, sometimes you know that he's not prepared to take an excuse from you. So he naturally gets the best out of them, because they know that his standard is high. They know that only the best will please him. So they are also doing their best, and I think the customs is in good hands, no doubt about it. And I'm really pleased with the progress that they are making. We just hope that this continues, and Nigeria will be better for it.
That's great. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to our next story. It's a crunch economic period in our country, and many citizens and organizations are feeling the heat. It is double jeopardy for the Liberians Registration Council of Nigeria, an agency under the Ministry of Education responsible for the regulation of library and information science education in the country. Members of staff of the council are protesting the removal of the agency from budget funding since January 2024, a situation that has resulted in the non-payment of their salaries. They pleaded with President Bola Tinubu to consider merging the council with other agencies, as it is not a revenue-generating agency that can fund itself. TVC News' Helen Osamide Akins has the story.
In June 2023, the federal government in a memo revealed plans to discontinue budgetary allocations to professional bodies and councils. In a memo to one of the affected councils dated June 26, 2023, the Budget Office of the Federation said the move was in line with the decision of the Presidential Committee on Salaries. The Liberian Registration Council of Nigeria is one of the affected councils. Its staff are today protesting the decision after several efforts to get the Ministry of Education's intervention, which also appear to be helpless in the situation. They complain that the decision is taking a toll on their productivity and their work environments.
Staff can no longer afford to pay rent. Children are out of school. Because you are federal government workers, you have some loan obligation which some agencies have given you because they know you can be repaying back. Today, their account has been thrown into debit. They are becoming bankrupt, being a federal government workers. And we begin to wonder why we FG secured work will now turn to be this kind of...
Going by the numbers and what the government is asking us to do to fund ourselves is not practicable. Because even where we are, we don't have accommodation of our own. The working environment is not conducive. We are just trying to manage. Now, if we are left to fund ourselves, it will be very, very difficult.
They want the federal government to have a rethink and consider merging them with other agencies and pay outstanding salaries.
In case of other people, they absorb them if at all they don't want to fund them again. To start with, we are not supposed to be removed even from personnel, even if you are trying to implement something. We want our backlogs of salaries to be paid immediately. As it stands now, we don't even know whether we are in the service of the government or not, because they are telling us to remain an entity, whereas they know that we are not even a revenue-generating agency that can be able to generate to even pay itself.
Liberian Registration Council of Nigeria was established as a parastatal under the Federal Ministry of Education to provide leadership in the field of librarianship by regulating education for library and information science and its practice in Nigeria.
Addressing this issue will require alternative funding sources such as private sector partnership, international aid or increased fee for services, but these come with their own set of challenges and implications. Helen Osamide Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, gentlemen, LRC and staff protesting there. Bikio, help us with a proper background to the story.
I still don't see the purpose for the reason behind what the government has done. The Federal Ministry of Education should merge them with any of its agencies that is similar in terms of what they do. Because they can't fund themselves. By the nature of this agency, they cannot be self-funding. Where will the money come from? Who will bring money to them? Some agencies of government, even if you don't pay them for 5 years, they will get by. They will get by because they will generate, you give them target, they will generate above the target and use the rest to take care of their bureaucracy. But in this case, they cannot generate money. It's not possible given what they do. It's not every agency of government that can be that can generate money to fund itself. And since they are in that category, the best thing that government can do is to reabsorb them, match them with another agency where they can continue to play the role that they are playing. If it is a regulatory agency for librarianship in our country and meant to help librarians in our country get better at what they do, then you want to believe that it is not useless. And since it is not useless, government has to find a way to accommodate them, match them with an agency, and pay them their standing salaries. They go to work, but they can't pay their bills. Since January, they've not been paid.
They've been paid.
Nobody should be kept at work for 6 months without paying their salaries. You have to. They need to also know what their future will look like. Someone needs to address them to say, look, this is what we are, this is our plan for you. But to simply leave them like that,
So
you haven't paid their salaries,
and no one has been
since
responding.
January, you are not talking to them, you are not telling them what plan you have for them, and you have not dismissed them from service. I don't understand why these kind of things happen. Honestly, I can't explain. I imagine myself to be in their position. How do I take care of my family? How do I pay these fees of my children, the school fees of my children? How do I pay the landlords who of course, will be on your neck if you are owing? How do I pay my bills? How do I feed myself? How do I feed my children and my dependents?
And others will depend on you.
So this, I mean, and if, you know how painful it is in our country, if you had been enjoying life to an extent and things change suddenly, the people who are not aware of the fact that you will not be paid for 6 months, some of them will still be coming to you to ask for one thing or another. And when you tell them that, no, it's not easy, they will say you are telling us stories. You know? So government needs to do something about their plight.
All right, Adeoye, what do you think?
Well, I think we need a government that is, first of all, ready to appreciate the value of Liberian's Representation Council of Nigeria and their members. Because in this part of the world, you know, we are very contemptuous of knowledge. This association belongs to the knowledge zone. And that is one of the most critical aspects of every economy. They are the custodians of information. They are the custodians of knowledge, science, art, politics. Even our archives, they are the ones that keep records for the past 200, 300 years. So library information, library technology is a crucial part of national development. This association that we are talking about, you know, in other countries is taken as they don't really need to make money. It's not profit driven. They provide social services, knowledge services. So it's not every time you say, oh, this what is even the relevance of this association. As far back as, you know, we used to have the West African Library Association, which was established several years ago. Then later the Nigerian Library Association, which was established in 1962 at Ibadan to back up the University of Ibadan. And people are coming from all over the world. When you are looking for information, you go to them. So we should not eliminate these aspects of our national life. Countries don't take this kind of, libraries is taken very seriously in other countries. US alone has 17,454 libraries. Brazil has 5,000. UK, 3,667. China, 3,303. Nigeria has only 316 libraries. So you are diminishing.
Someone that say we don't like to read here.
Yeah, it's not the best. You know, because even in the age of internet and all that, libraries are still very important. You know, not just in state, in local government areas. So over the years, we've ignored this aspect of our national life. You know, the governing council was inaugurated in 2002. After that, the solution, there was no other board until 2009. So over years, we just ignored this aspect. So I think the federal government needs to realize that this is a very strategic and important aspect of our life that is also relevant to industrial knowledge development. So I think government should take them serious, pay their salary. They have been 10 years, You know, that's why we don't, you know, look at teachers. They are poorly paid. We don't, and these are the people that actually that they lay the foundation for industrial development. And also, I think government should address their plight and make sure that they are integrated into the.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let's go on a commercial break, and when we come back, we will continue the discussion. Stay with us.
Quality wires and cables. Come and come back, light up your life. Come and want to light up your household. Come and want to give you better. Come and extraordinary wire. Come and cables. Come and wires. Come and quality. Come and durable. Come and capable. Come and cables. Come and wires. Come and quality. Come and durable. Come and capable. Everybody, come and see. Come and wires, one in a days. Brother, sister, uncle, auntie, go get your own. Come and wires, come and cables, come and quality, come and durable, come and capable. Come and wires, come and cables, come and quality, come and durable, come and capable.
Coleman Wires and Cable. Great quality. Now with the new look.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Journalist Hangout on Sunday, and I have been hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Adewale Adeoye. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to our next story, which is politics. For the reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, it's back to base on all fronts. Just 3 days after the presiding judge of the Federal High Court, Abuja, Justice James Omotosho, nullified the impeachment of Shaibu as Deputy Governor of the state, he officially dumped the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and returned to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Shaibu made the announcement on Saturday in Benin City, the state capital, at an event attended by party bigwigs. He is said to have rejoined the APC with leading members of the Dan Obi-led legacy group of the PDP. Let's share that moment with you.
My father, Comrades, chairman and all the members of the APC that we have come to add value, and it is time to take our state back. It is time to take our state back. He is an achiever. He is focused. He knows the meaning of development, and he is all out to ensure total development of Edo State. I know that come September 21st, we are going to leave the other parties by March. Nobody is going to stop us, because we are bringing practical governance into this state. I ask the Commissioner of Police to defend the integrity of the youth. In your name, I invite the IG to consider the killing in broad daylight of one of his officers as a national assignment.
Meanwhile, Babajide saw this coming when he predicted during our numerous discussions on this program that the reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State will dump the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. Let's share one of those moments with you.
After all Shaibu had been through, he will now go and support the candidate of a man who gave him much more than hell. So he will want to do his best to ensure that Obaseki's candidate does not carry the day. So,
right, but don't you think this could be attached to anti-party activities? Do you see any likelihood of him being suspended by the party?
This person will eventually join the APC. He will eventually join the APC. When the time comes, you will see him in APC colors. And maybe the national chairman of the APC will be holding his jersey, the way footballers' jerseys are held once they join another club. I see Philip Shaibu joining the APC very, very soon. I see that. I've not spoken with him, but I think that after many years of doing psychoanalysis of politicians in our country, I think I can predict some of their moves. And I'm sure before the election, you see Philip Shaibu back in the
APC fold.
Yes, he has no choice. He doesn't want to support the Labour Party candidate. He knew the Labour Party candidate is not likely to win. No matter how the noise that they make, the two dominant parties remain the PDP and the APC. And in this case, the PDP is the party of his boss, who sent him packing from the party. You don't expect him to go back to his vomit. So, and when politicians are in this mood, they also don't want to waste their efforts. He is most likely to work for a party that is convinced is capable of winning the election. So the choice for him was clearly to support either Labour Party or to support the APC. Right. And in this case, the APC is stronger than the Labour Party. You know, this is my opinion. They can argue with me, that's their problem. The APC is stronger than the Labour Party, and he thinks the APC can win the election, so he's decided to go there. I see him again, I'm saying it here, I see him eventually joining the APC. It will be a reunion for him to go back to the APC where Adams Oshiomhole is the leader of the party.
All right, then, Bikio, you saw this comment, so let me start with you. How do you see most of these things? I mean, how do you come correct in most of your predictions when it comes to politics most of the time?
You know, after so many years, I can say that I'm familiar with political behavior, not just of voters, but of the power people within our political firmament. And it's not simply an educated guess that I make. It's based on years of studying political behavior. You know, so I knew that I would end up there. He had no choice. I knew he would end up there. Despite the fact that his political father, Oshiomhole, said, oh, APC is not a party for internally displaced politicians to come and...
I remember.
So I knew that when the time comes, because he has value politically. No one can say Shaibu does not have value, that he doesn't have political support. He has support, especially in his area. So I know that when the chips are down, they will also need him. And he's come out quickly now, after being reinstated, to say, look, I'm joining the APC. By law, he's the deputy governor of Edo State until a superior court says otherwise. Obaseki may be posturing like one little god in the state. The reality is our laws are bigger than any man. And you are not even president. Even the president, our laws are bigger than the president. You are just a governor. So the law prevails. The court ordered that they should give him back his full complement of security men. That has been obeyed. Yes. The IG has restored his security. So he's still the deputy governor of Edo State by law. I know that that judgment will be challenged until it is set aside. Philip Shaibu is the deputy governor of
Edo State.
Edo State. That's the way it is for now. So if you ask me, does it have electoral value? I think to an extent it has electoral value.
PDP people say he's been losing his word, so good riddance.
He's been losing his word to who? Is it to them? Losing his word. Oshomole had to struggle to retain that place in the last election. Go and check the last governorship election. And it was because of Shaibu. In that governorship election, it was a tug of war for the APC to claim. He comes from the same senatorial zone as his political godfather. So it was a big battle. Yet, they had to struggle to APC had to struggle to win. So they didn't know all this while that it didn't have value. When he worked against his political father, they didn't say all that. Because it was a terrible thing to work against Oshomole for someone like Philip Shaibu, whom Oshomole had groomed. You know? But it happens in politics. Absolutely. Now, a man who will not even agree to shake his hands at a church thanksgiving, do they expect him to continue to support such a person? Or despite all what they've done to him to remain in the party? No, it makes no sense. And that's why it's left for the APC.
So what does this mean for politics in Edo State? Governor Baseki is in PDP, his deputy is in the APC.
Sometimes it happens. It happens. In Zamfara State, the governor, Mohammed Bello Matawale, defected to the APC. His deputy refused to go. Ultimately, he was impeached illegally. The courts said no. Not only that, when Magatakada Wamako was governor of Sokoto State, he defected from the APC, from the PDP, because he was one-time deputy governor. He defected from the PDP to the APC. His deputy did not defect with him, and they remained governor deputy until the end of their tenure. That's Muktari Shagari. Muktari Shagari did not leave. So it's not the first time that a governor will be in a party, the deputy will be in a rival party.
Obike, with what we saw on Thursday, how certain are you that this would be seamless? Till the September election?
The cat and mouse will continue because Baseki is desperate to install his own person. And he was the same person who said, no, we don't want Godfather in our state. Yeah. But he's trying to turn himself to a Godfather. That is the point that I always make. The people who kick against Godfatherism today, they always end up as Godfathers themselves. Are you telling me that Fubara tomorrow will not want, if he gets 8 years, will not want to put his own person there? Will the primaries of the party come and he will fold his arms? How many times do we see people do that? They always end up becoming Godfathers themselves. So I just laugh at them when they say, oh, Godfatherism, you benefited from Godfatherism.
Oh, it's not
you benefited from it. You are nobody, somebody made you somebody. Suddenly you are kicking against God because it's convenient or politically expedient at a point to kick against it. You kick against it. But later on, you will also want to become a Godfather by planting your own successor. It's part of the deceit that characterizes politics in our country.
Absolutely. Adeyi, how interesting is this for you? You know, I saw a tweet where somebody said the inventor of Edo Nobi Lagos is now back to the APC.
Yeah. Well, it clearly shows that not just in politics, in life, there is no permanent friend. What you usually have is permanent interest. So there could be the alignment and realignment in personal relation with people, and also in political affairs or economic affairs. So people have spoken about him being politically promiscuous, flirtatious, and all that, which is true. But then I also see the high spirit of reconciliation, of peace building and conflict prevention. Because in life, no matter the level of conflict, you must always look for a middle course to say that, look, as human beings, what are those lowest common factors that we share in common that we can put to resolve our. And I think we need such spirit when we are talking about nation building. I believe a lot of negotiation must have gone into this before he decided to decamp to APC. And I also believe that it was the best decision that he could have made at this time.
I think that's good for him.
Yes, because if his ambition is to be the governor of Edo State, in fact, his chances are brighter now. Because probably we need to wait for 8 years, he will be 62. Or waiting for just 4 years, he will be 58. And if you look at the fact that the APC controls politics at the national level, you know, he will now be coming to national mainstream, which I think will strengthen, you know. I also think that is leaving that party, whether the PDP likes it or not, is a huge minus for the APC, for the PDP. If he was not a strong factor, why was he made deputy governor? Look at the caliber of people that attended the defection. If it's just an ordinary person, they are acting on intelligence report, his strength, his opportunities. That's why you see these people that are attending that kind of event. So I think it's a huge loss for PDP. And it's also a reflection of the fact that they didn't manage their internal dispute very well. Lagos had, since 1999, there was always internal crisis. But ability to manage it and submerge it has always led to the triumph of a particular trend in Lagos State. So if you cannot manage your internal contradictions all the time, these are the kind of things you are going to face. If Obaseki was going to have a tough time to win this election, I mean his protege, he will have a tougher time with the defection of Shoaib. So I think the next election will be quite interesting, but I think it will be tougher for PDP's candidate to win this election.
Really, Vikeo?
It will be tougher.
Yeah. It will make the election more interesting.
Interesting.
So we'll see what happens in the coming days.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Part of the powers bestowed on the president in a federation like ours is the appointment of officials that will assist him or her in running state affairs. In the exercise of this power, President Bola Tinubu is filling key positions in government with capable hands. One of the recent ones is the appointment of Tosin Adeyanju as Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the National Lottery Trust Fund, while Adeyanju has assumed office as the new helmsman at the fund. Some stakeholders in the ruling All Progressives Congress APC have expressed joy at President Tinubu's last set of appointees. Let's share the story of the new lottery fund with you.
This moment in history, in the history of National Lottery Trust Fund, to witness this epoch transition from one executive secretary to another, which has never happened before in the history of NLTF. Let me congratulate the incoming executive secretary, my own dear comrade and Honorable Tosin Adeyanju, to whom we're all pleased. To whom also we have absolute confidence in him driving the affairs of this agency. Let me assure you that the management staff seated here and other staff
disciplined individuals. I have worked with them closely, all of them, for well over 6-7 years as chief executive. I've known them to be very competent, very effective, and very loyal. The essence of loyalty here needs to be stressed. At no time have we ever recorded any controversy in this organization.
I promise to build on your legacies.
Thank you.
I promise to make all of you seated here proud. I promise to make Mr. President proud. We will be the true ambassadors of the new hope under the able leadership of Mr. President.
Absolutely.
As the objective has been stated, we will not depart from it. What I appeal to all of you seated here is your cooperation.
Indeed.
The way you have cooperated with my senior Edmond, please kindly do the same for me. And we will not regret it.
Let me also shake your hand. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Wonderful.
All right, Adeoye, let me start with you. A new CEO and executive secretary and expectations.
I think the National Lottery Trust Fund is a very important aspect of the economy, that you need somebody who is capable to manage it. The organization is mandated to manage proceeds from gaming, lottery activities, which runs into billions, and such proceeds are to go into social services, health provisions, education. So I think it's a very important aspect of our economy. And in the past years, I'm sorry to say, we have not heard much about how much proceeds were made and how those funds were shared. I'm not accusing them, but I'm just saying that in terms of public knowledge, a lot of people are not aware.
The president even emphasized on transparency.
Yeah, transparency.
Yes.
Because in other countries, look at the UK, about 49 billion pounds, and they invest this into about 690 projects in 1 year alone. So we need to realize that government needs to be creative in terms of raising funds, especially at this very critical moment. I remember that in the 1950s, it was lottery that the Action Group set up to use that funds partly to fund the free education program. So, because a lot of lottery activities are going on all over the country, and if you have the right person to manage that institution, it's going to be a huge benefit for our country. I have looked at the background of the person that has speaked. He's well educated, he has master's degree, first degree and master's degree, and I think he's young, he's an entrepreneur, and I believe that potentially, I see potential in him. So we have to wait to see how effective we'll be able to run. It needs to increase in terms of revenue, in terms of ensuring that the trust fund is driven by information technology, and it also needs good conscience of patrons of gaming and lottery activities. So I wish him the best of luck, and I hope that in the next few months we'll be able to prove to Nigerians that he's capable to, that is fit for that job.
Mikhail, what's the impact of NLTF on the economy?
You really have to look at where we are currently and the potential for growth. The way, if it is properly run, there's no way that it won't help us. It won't help us to catalyze growth. in our country. All of those agencies have value. The problem is that we do not always put the round peg in a round hole. And I believe that the president this time around has done the right thing. The way people came out to show their appreciation to the president over this last set of appointments, because clearly the people who labored for the president were the people that were rewarded with appointments at this time. Because a lot of the people that had been appointed before now, I'm not saying a lot of them made no contribution to the president's emergence. You know,
supported another party entirely.
Some of them supported rival parties, but they got appointments all the same. And people were now taunting the people who carried Tinubu's election on their heads. Adeyanju is a battle-tested. He's an activist, just like his brother. He's an activist. He's strong. He's aggressive.
Is the Jadi of his brother?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They share the same parents. You know, he's aggressive. He's also forward-looking. So I believe that the activist in him will help him to do a good job as the CEO of the lottery fund. Then we have Bafa Danagundi, the Kano man, the light-skinned Kano man who now heads the National Productivity Center. His capacity for mobilizing people in Kano politics is legendary. He was a former majority leader of the House of Assembly, so he's very, very strong in the politics of the state. You know, he also led, Karota is Kano's version of Lasma, but they are far more aggressive than Lasma. If you go to Kano, their own attitude is a no-nonsense one. So he led it for some time. Then his appointment has really made people happy because these were people who sacrificed for the president. Then look at someone like Adeyeye. Adeyeye and people like him started swagger. Even before people believed that Asiwaju would attempt to contest the election, they started swagger. But what did we see? People who were being appointed, Adeyeye was ignored, but his patience has now been rewarded by the president, and it makes a lot of people happy because they were pointing at people like Adeyeye who went around.
I see that on Twitter.
Yes, they were taunting them that are good for you. They were the ones who went to speak with traditional rulers from the southwest to say, look, this is a project you must support. So the president got the last set of appointments right, not just in terms of the competence of the people and the fact that those that they appointed are tested, but he tried to solve a problem. The constant bashing of the president that is appointing people who did not work for him. I think he dealt with that issue with this last set of appointments. Let's not also forget that when the governing councils of tertiary institutions were formed, it generated a lot of controversy. On this program, we told the president to take a second look at it, that this thing was wrong. The president listened to us and to other people. And when he reconstituted it, what did we see? Nobody complained. The kind of complaint that we got at that time, it didn't happen. Which means that if you do good consultation with stakeholders, if you get the right people to help you, to work with you, you are going to find not just the right people, because you can't tell me that Adeyeye, who had been Minister of Works, is not somebody capable of doing the job. No.
That's correct.
You can't say that. You can't tell me that Bafa Danagundi does not have capacity. He's been tested. So the president got those last set of appointments right. There are complaints about an individual, but I'm sure that we are not perfect. Along the line of giving people these appointments, there will be mistakes. But the president should also be ready to address those mistakes once they are pointed out to him. But kudos to him for this last set of appointees, including Tosin Adeyanju, and we wish them good luck.
All the best, and we hope, they do not disappoint the president and everyone who trusts in them and their capability. All right, let's move on, everyone. With a refining capability or capacity of 650,000 barrels per day, making it Africa's largest oil refinery, the $19 billion Dangote refinery can be likened to a national asset that demands national protection. Amid the crisis facing the company, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajudeen Abbas, said lawmakers are committed to addressing issues surrounding the full takeoff of the refinery. The Speaker said this when he led the leadership of the House on a familiarization visit to the refinery on Saturday. Speaking after they were conducted round the facility by the president of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, Abbas noted that it was part of efforts to support key industries in the country. Meanwhile, Nigerians are calling for the removal of the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Authority, Farouk Ahmed, over his comments that products from the refinery are inferior to imported ones. They accused Ahmed of trying to demarket the refinery for selfish agenda. Babajide was one of the journalists who recently visited the refinery for a tour of the facilities. Let's share that with you.
I'm at the Dangote Refinery. As you can see, in front of us is the Atlantic Ocean, rumbling in its full glory. It's my first time of coming here. And, it's a beautiful sight to behold. Look at the Atlantic Ocean. As far as the eyes can see, there is a free trade zone here. And the ocean serves the purpose of a free trade zone. I'm inside the crude testing laboratory of the Dangote Refinery and Petrochemical Company. The equipment available here are among the best in the world. The desire of the company is to produce the best product from crude oil that it receives from its numerous clients.
Yo, how do you react to this?
You see, if you have not visited Dangote Refinery, it's impossible for anyone to tell you a complete story. It's just not possible. You have to visit the place. Dangote Refinery is 7 times the size of Victoria Island.
Wow.
7 times. And driving around the refinery will take you a whole day.
Really?
Yes. Just driving around, seeing things. No, this is the port. He built the port. Now, this is inside the fertilizer blending plant. I hope we can go back to that. He built a port inside the refinery to take care. This is granulated urea fertilizer.
Wow.
You know, is fertilizer plant. This is fertilizer equipment.
Okay.
It's not refinery. This one you are seeing as big as it is. All this one you are seeing are part of the fertilizer facility. So this one now, what you are seeing on your screen, is the crude testing laboratory.
Crude testing.
Yes, there is no refinery in Nigeria that has this. This is a fact.
Wow.
So this is for him to be able to test the crude that he receives, whether they are good enough. There is another place. That one is for gas. It's just like this. So whatever comes to him, he is able to test to be sure that it is of high standard. I think this is the gas. Gas. Yes, system. This is the facility for gas. You know. So this is his control room. This is his control room.
This is huge.
This is control room. Now, there are more than 300, about 350 bridges inside the facility. Bridges, concrete bridges inside Dangote Refinery. There are 50,000 rooms that he built for staff. The place is massive. We left around 7:30 for the place. We were moving around. It was around 6 p.m. that we were able to go and eat. And while eating, do a Q&A with him. When he was building the refinery, 150,000 containers came into the site, 150,000 containers. So he knew that given the volume of equipment that will be coming in, he has no choice but to build his own port. So he built a port there where he can receive cargo and all that. And already he is producing diesel for export, producing Jet A1, which is aviation fuel for export. He showed us the terminal. You know, you see that place where they showed the speaker and other people, that deck, those huge pipes. When the product comes in through the Atlantic Ocean, because the Atlantic Ocean is behind them. You know, if it was my own video, you would have seen the Atlantic Ocean. These are huge pipes that the crude oil comes in. When I heard that he has not been given license to produce, but he's already exporting. He's already selling aviation fuel to our airlines. The airlines are buying aviation fuel from him, and you are saying he has not been licensed. He is exporting diesel already. He is receiving crude from Brazil, from the US, and producing from the crude. He is producing diesel and Jet A1. And you are saying he has not been licensed. Somebody is already making money, selling Jet A1 directly. Look at the pipe. See how big the pipe is. Selling, that's the Atlantic. So, the picture is not as clear as the one that I had. So what I see is an attempt to simply demarket Dangote. Dangote is not a saint. Even if he tells me it's not a saint, it's a saint, I will not agree. But we cannot have this kind of refinery and now tell ourselves that all that we need to do is simply, look at the pipes, is simply to be bringing in petroleum product. By doing that, we are boosting the economies of other lands. You go and receive, without shame, a country that is one of the biggest producers of crude oil in the world. Are we not ashamed that Dangote is going to Brazil to get crude oil to use in his refinery? Are we not ashamed? Somebody will stand before Nigerians and say, oh, the diesel that Dangote is producing is of inferior quality. Okay, the people that Dangote has been sending diesel to is foreign clients. Or the Nigerian airlines who are already buying Jet A1 from him.
Haven't complained about it.
Did they complain? Where did we read? How can somebody have... I showed those equipment in the laboratory. How can somebody have all of that and he will still be producing dirty? The whole idea is for him to be able to ensure that he gets crude oil of the highest quality. So if he puts the testing facility in place, how can you be talking about, oh, what he has is not good enough? From the same people who brought dirty petrol into our country and damaged people's cars. The same people. The man who was complaining is supposed to be the regulator. Where were they when they imported, when NNPC and his agents brought dirty? Just look at this equipment.
This is here.
I challenge the DPR. They've changed their name to something longer now. I challenge them to show us their own testing equipment, their own laboratory. Let them show us. Let us compare to what the man has. Abi? It's just sometimes, sometimes about Nigeria, you will struggle to not give up. How can we have a situation like this that we cannot? They've been telling us that our refinery will be ready up to this time.
You've given us another date.
And it says so much about our integrity, not just as a nation, but the leaders in that sector. It diminishes their integrity. They don't know it. If they tell Nigeria that, oh, this, the refinery will start working from social time, and we don't see anything. That time passes, you have no shame, you are coming out to give us another timeline. Our national pride is bruised as a result. How can we not trust our leaders? And people are still keeping their jobs. This nonsense is going on. People are still keeping their jobs. They are not doing anything about them. And they are the ones who will come and say a refinery is 45%. 45% was already exporting crude.
Why?
Now, in the coming days, we are going to get, because the diesel from Dangote, the diesel from some other retail outlets were tested before the House of Reps members.
Okay.
And from the test, you will see that the Dangote diesel was clearly better than others. Now, what the House of Reps have said is, okay, we will now still do another one. Let us see whether the result will be different. If the result is different, I don't think Nigerians will forgive the person who came out to tell us that Dangote has been producing bad diesel. Because an independent test mandated by the National Assembly, the House of Reps, once it's conducted, we want to see the results. We want to know whether we were lied to by this government official. And there are questions that need to be answered. Why can't we produce enough diesel for the refineries here? They are not telling us the truth. Somebody said that is probably even why they are delaying the takeoff of the Port Harcourt refinery. That they probably don't have enough, even enough crude. And we have clients. We committed ourselves to forward sales that we are ready, whether we like it or not, we must supply them. Otherwise, it will bring problems. So, is that the reason we cannot produce enough, not just for Dangote, but for refineries here? There are all kinds of problems in that sector. And there is a need to deal with those problems. Supply of crude for domestic consumption. And then supply of crude for export. We must get both right. If we get that of export right, we will make more dollars. If we get the production, the domestic production right, we will be able to take care of the needs of our people. So these are issues that the president must address. I'm happy that, yes, over the years, people had complained about Dangote, about his business practices, about his love for monopoly and all that. But today, there is a new hashtag, I stand with Dangote. Because people can see through what is going on. It appears that there is a deliberate attempt to frustrate demand, to crush demand.
He's already looking stressed.
Yes, and it's gray all over.
Yes.
It's gray, his head is covered in gray hair. So it looks like there's an attempt. I think they fear that he wants to produce refined crude and still retail.
Okay.
So I believe that that's why they are trying their best to frustrate him, because if he goes on to retail, they believe that he will now fix prices and they won't be able to deal with that situation.
All right.
But you can deal with the situation if you fix your own refineries. I like what the Senate president said when they visited the place. He said, what a whole country could not do, this man has done it. And the size of Dangote refinery is bigger than all the Nigerian refineries put together.
Wow.
So he has done, we could not run our refineries. We are shameless people. We could not run our refineries for years. We kept pumping money, they kept stealing the money.
Maintenance.
Now an individual has found a way to build a refinery. This fertilizer plant is the biggest in Africa.
Wow.
We are now scared of him. We say, it was a monopolist, he will do this, he will do that. He's sitting on more than 500 hectares, this fertilizer plant alone. Sitting on more than 500 hectares. I was wondering, how can an individual have the courage to do something this big? You can't tell the story unless you go there yourself.
Ade, let me come to you.
Even if you have not visited the refinery before, looking at the cobweb of machineries, I think the nearest I've ever seen close to this in Nigeria is the Ajaokuta, mill.
Even me.
I went there.
Yes, when I went.
3-story underground and everything in waste.
Yes.
The same forces,
covered by grass.
The same forces that destroyed the potential of Nigerian industrial takeoff to become a world power, to be producing aeroplanes, to be producing high-duty machines, caterpillars. Those are the same forces that are out again to ensure that Dangote refinery will not work. This is a factory, that we are talking about 19 to 20 billion dollars invested to produce about 650 barrels of oil a day. And we are talking about direct and indirect workers between 40,000 to 50,000. How many state governments can employ 50,000 workers? How many of them in Nigeria? So what is going on is local and international conspiracy by a very strong network of rogues who insist that they were able to stop Kaduna Refinery, stop Warri Refinery, stop Port Harcourt, that this one, they will not allow you to work. It's simple. From the utterances, you will know. These are vultures that feed only on waste, on carcass. So they want Nigeria to become rotten because that's the only way, that's their dining table. Any effort to bring Nigeria back to glory, they must submerge it. Because I don't understand. I can't understand. Somebody is saying that what they are producing is inferior. But you are supposed to be part of the agency that you have been monitored whatever will be produced from. So you waited until they are started producing before you now realize that it's inferior. So, and when we bring in, when we export crude, we are losing thousands of byproducts of petroleum, of crude that nobody is talking about. Yes. But when they take these things abroad, they also make personal money from those petroleum byproducts. But by the time we are now refining our byproducts, our crude oil, there will be all sorts of chain reactions. Thousands of byproducts, fertilizer, cream, and all. They don't want that.
Polythene.
Nigeria should continue to be a major exporter of products because that's where they feed. That's where they make their money. We are talking about politicians and individuals who are building houses in Dubai and all that. This man has decided to invest in a lifelong project, and all you want to do is to frustrate him. Now, if people can frustrate somebody like Dangote at this high level, given his family background, you can imagine how many small businesses that are suffering frustration, that have been stifled out of business by cartels, by rogues, by crooks who dominate strategic aspects of our economy. So I think this is quite ridiculous. But I think we should take this struggle as our own struggle. We should own the process. Nigerians, we must stand up to back Dangote and to confront this evil empire that they should allow Nigeria to breathe. We must take it up. If it means organizing rallies and all that, we must have a data of the names of these elements and ensure that something is done. So sanitize the oil sector.
If they are saying that the man is a monopolist, the biggest monopolist is actually NNPC.
Of course.
They are the ones directly importing all of what we consume as PMS. And they have 4 refineries.
And you can't maintain
have 4 refineries, 2 in Port Harcourt, 1 in Warri, 1 in Kaduna. You can't maintain them. If you can maintain your refineries, what will Dangote single refinery do? So they are the real monopolists. Because if you keep those refineries running, the cost of PMS will come down because freight costs will have been removed. Cost of insurance, before shipment happens, will also go. So the landing cost will be lower than what it is currently. And it's been ascertained, it's been confirmed that 1/3 of our forest needs goes to importing PMS. So if we take away that, if we take away the need to import PMS, we'll be able to save foreign exchange, and that foreign exchange that we earn, because we too should be in position to even export refined crude. We'll make more money from export, and we'll be able to supply our forest market with it. So the same NNPC people who came and told us that Nigeria will be net exporter of refined crude oil, they are the ones now who have issued multiple licenses for people to go and be importing. That means they don't want the import regime, because it makes no sense. If you say you don't want importation anymore, how come you are issuing licenses to people to go and be importing? What do you people take us for?
I know in July 2022, the ad hoc committee of the House of Reps said 23 companies who are involved in oil subsidy, importing of oil, they could not trace their profile. 23 companies, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. So it's these same people that have ganged up to ensure that. So the president needs the political will, with the backing of Nigerians, that there must be stuff. Enough is enough.
All right, gentlemen, let's go on a break. And when we come back, we will move on to our next story. Please stay with us, everyone.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10.
Welcome back, everyone. I still have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Adewale Adeoye. Gentlemen, let's move on to our final topic for today. Plateau State.
Let me add, because before we go on, that they've sent the result of the testing that was conducted yesterday.
Oh.
They've sent the result to me. But there's no time now to go over it. But the result clearly showed that the Dangote diesel trumped the other diesels collected from other sources that were put to test.
Can you imagine?
This is the result. They have it. They sent it to me now.
See?
So and we were told that his diesel was bad. You know, Dangote complained. Dangote's one of his staff, Edwin, senior staff, who had worked with him for about 31 or 33 years. The man complained that dirty diesel was being imported to Nigeria. So this looks like a fight back.
Of course, to discredit.
Yes, okay. You said we are allowing dirty diesel into our country.
So let's
let's fight back. So that is the
government official to make such a statement. This is embarrassing.
This is the result. They sent the result to me.
It's embarrassing.
It's shameful. But this is Nigeria.
Oh, all right. Interesting days ahead. I'm sorry about that. So let's move on, gentlemen. Plateau State, North Central Nigeria, is a land rich in tourism potential and agriculture. Insecurity ravaging the state notwithstanding. One of the agri products that the state is reputed for is Irish potato. In a journalist Hangout weekend special, Babajide Kolade Otitoju explores the pains, gains, and boundless potential of Irish potato farming for the state and indeed Nigeria. Here is the story.
Irish potato, also known as white potato, is one of the world's most famous and enduring vegetables. It is delicious, easy to prepare, and offers tremendous health benefits. It is particularly noted for aiding digestive health, heart health, energy boost, immune system support, and weight management. This humble and versatile vegetable can be prepared and consumed in various forms, including being boiled, fried, mashed, roasted, baked, being made into potato swallow, potato pancake, and potato soup. Nigeria is Africa's biggest Irish potato producer, accounting for about 3.9 million tons a year, followed by Ethiopia with 2.9 million tons and Egypt with 1.5 million tons. It is grown in Bakori local government area of Katsina State, Kudan local government in Kaduna State, Obudu in Cross River State, and Plateau State in Nigeria's north central. Plateau State is Nigeria's biggest Irish potato producer. It is grown in ample quantities in such local governments as Bokos, Riom, Barkinladi, Jos South and Jos East, as well as Mangu, to mention but a few. I visited Latidu, Jos South local government area of Plateau State, where I met James, an Irish potato farmer. He has planted a new high-yield variety of potato. He tells me about the best time to plant it.
From ending of February or early May.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the best time to plant.
The best time. But so people plant it maybe from March. They start watering it first before rainfall.
Okay.
Yes.
James says with effective irrigation methods, Irish potato can grow in dry season. It was such a learning curve for me speaking with James.
That's I get water.
Okay, you have a lake here.
Yes, but from down here.
Okay.
Not from here, but we are calling for the government to. Well, it's the government that do it from here, but the water didn't reach here. So we are calling maybe if the government will help us and come and drag it from here again. These people here will get the water and do the dry season farm.
Okay,
yes.
Dry season farm.
Yes.
So, are you saying Irish potato can be grown all the year round?
Yes. All
This
the year
water?
round. Both dry and rainy season.
Okay.
You can plant
If there is sufficient water.
Yes.
It needs water, but it doesn't like too much water.
Yes.
Yes. I'm really learning today. It tells me how government can help stimulate agri-production.
If government can help people, maybe the younger ones, so that they can start this farming business.
We should encourage young people.
Yes. That's a major problem here.
A lot of young people don't want to get involved.
Yeah, they want to get involved, but they
need encouragement.
And they need capital. It's lack of the money. Even this variety,
yes,
I get it through ICP. It's ICP that give me this. I get help from them to give me this variety.
How much did it cost?
No,
did you get it for free?
For free.
From them?
For free, yes.
ICP?
Yes. That's the International Center for Potato.
Potato farm?
Yes.
It's based in Jos, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So how long does it take for Irish potato to be ripe for harvest?
Irish potato like this, Marabel, take time about 75 to 80 days.
75 to 80 days.
Yeah,
but right now, they are beginning. You people are beginning to harvest it.
Yeah.
James has shown us that his people value farming. He is an example of commitment to agri-production in this part of Nigeria. From Latidu, I went to High Pank, Barkinladi local government area, also in Plateau State. I met with Madam Agnes in the thick of harvest of Irish potato. She told me she had been an active farmer for more than 20 years. She is grateful for good harvest this year. Have you finished harvesting the Irish potato?
No, sir, I never finished.
No, you still have some left.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But this is a whole bag.
It's more than that.
It's more than a bag.
Yes.
How many years have you been farming Irish potato?
It has been long. It's more than 20 years.
So you can see they've harvested a lot of Irish potato. Come with me. See a lot of Irish potato already harvested. And they are waiting to evacuate them so that they can sell to willing buyers. The Irish potato is growing side by side with soybeans. You can see the farm, see how lush green. Already begun to plant groundnut behind us, as well as cocoyam. Irish potato is cheaper in rural areas but more expensive in urban centers. This is due mainly to transport costs. Farmers face different problems like disease outbreak, lack of access to high-quality seeds, and irregular rainfall patterns, all of which affect crop growth and yield. Here in Bokos local government area of Plateau State, the farmers are happy that this has been a year of impressive harvest, but they complain about lack of fertilizers to boost production and the recurring problem of insecurity.
I've been farming Irish many years. Even this place, is more than 10 years that I used to come and farm here. So the years back is not like these years that they are stealing the potatoes. And the problem of fertilizer is the most important one, because fertilizer now is very difficult to get it. We see the fertilizer, but the money is very high. No, we have not get fertilizer from government. We used to buy it. So fertilizer is the most problem, and the insecurity myself. And also those that they used to come and give a farm for us, like this year, they said that mining is better than them time to come and farm.
I have been planting our orange for more than 10 years. So the problem or the challenges that we are facing, truly insecurity. Most especially these Fulani people, when you plant your farm, they will come and destroy everything. And really, we know that fertilizer is very costly. And before you get the money to buy fertilizer is something. So at least we are calling upon the government to look into this and help the farmers. Most especially some of the people, they are not more in their villages because of the insecurity.
Just because the way things are moving. So last year I will thank God because I harvested a lot of Irish, but this year it was not like good for me because the way things are, fertilizer and the drugs that I can take care of the Irish with it, they are too cost and they are too hard for me. You can go and plant your Irish and Fulani will go and chase you there, take you out of the farm. But you have already farmed the Irish. You are here to harvest it and you cannot harvest it because of the enemies. So that's the challenges we are facing. If the government can do anything for us and help us, and we will be grateful.
However, increasing use of modern technologies such as mechanization, improved seed varieties, and irrigation will stimulate greater Irish potato production, enable food security, generate employment, and trigger economic growth. Experts say Nigeria can become a net exporter of Irish potatoes with the right government support and policies.
All right, well done, BKO. What are your takeaways from that report?
Yeah, I discovered that women in Plateau State are very hardworking. Most of these farms are owned by women. And they actively work on those farms. So I interacted with quite a number of them. I'm happy that this year they have impressive yield, and the price actually came down from 160,000 to 44,000 at a point, and in places like Bokos, it even came down because, to about 30,000. So you can imagine from 160,000 to 30,000. That's impressive, and I just hope that we can continue along that path. Nigeria is Africa's largest Irish potato producer. We do on the average 3.9 million metric tons a year. We are followed by Ethiopia that does 2.9 million metric tons, you know, and Egypt that does 1.5. But all of these countries are exporters of Irish potato. Yet Nigeria is not really known as an exporter of the produce. So I think that we should take agriculture more seriously. In the 60s, we didn't put all our eggs in one basket. Today, we are putting all our eggs in the crude oil basket. If we can stimulate greater agri-production, we will earn money from cash crops. And Irish potato is one of those cash crops that we can actually capitalize on to earn more foreign exchange. So I think that that's something that government can look at, because there's a lot of potential there, in my view.
All right, Adeoye, I mean, you heard some of the farmers asking for government intervention, especially in the areas of funding and fertilizers.
Yes. And they also spoke about security. Because if you look at the local government that were listed, we have discussed here about security challenges that they have, especially back in Ladi. You know, so I think it's something that government really needs to look into. Potatoes is a global brand. I don't think there's any country in the world, or 200 countries, where people will not eat potatoes because of its value. It's very rich in vitamin C and also potassium, which is good for the nervous system and also for the heart. So I think it's an essential food item that if we have the right government input, Nigeria can become a net exporter of potatoes. I recall that it was brought into this country, I think, in the 19th century by missionaries. You know, when they went to Jos, and then they started planting the potatoes to feed the British troops that were stationed in West Africa. So since that time, it has, you know, Nigeria has become a major, especially in Plateau State. I think later Kaduna and some parts of Benue. But Plateau is the actual food basket. So I think government should invest, you know, in this kind of agro potential. And it shows clearly that we should look beyond oil all the time. If we can invest in certain areas like potatoes, I think Nigeria will be able to. We shouldn't just leave it to the level of subsistence farming. You know, we can have mechanized farming, focusing on potatoes. So I think it's a big challenge for government of Midwest states. You know, that we need to do a lot. I know there's also the National Institute of Roots Research, you know, that was established in that area around 1976 or so to cater for things like that. I don't know what is happening with that research institute now, because there are so many varieties of potatoes, not just one. Yeah. So I think government should put in a lot of investment.
Do you think this investment is enough to attract young people?
Yeah, young people go into farming if they realize that there is support coming in terms of fertilizer, in terms of security, and in terms of minimum capital. You know, in order for them to be able to, a lot of people go into agriculture instead of riding Okada and going into ventures that are not actually adding much to the economy. All
right, Mikhail, your final take on this before we go.
Yes, kudos to those hard-working women, hard-working young men. I think that we must do our best to encourage young people to get involved, you know, in agriculture. Government must adopt methods like mechanization. If we can help them to till their fields, to cultivate their fields, and then give them high-yield seedlings, more and more people will be encouraged, because the population of our farmers is an aging one. Look at that woman, she's been doing it for 20 plus years. That's Madam Agnes. And there are others like that, they are getting older. If we can get young people, and there are so many young people who are unemployed, they don't know where, when they will get a job. If we encourage them to take to farming, things will improve. Imagine, okay, we have not been able to cultivate more than 9% of our entire arable land in Nigeria.
Wow.
we've not contributed up to 9%. Is that not a personal, a big shame for our country? If Egypt or if Israel has the potential that we have, only God knows where they will be. Today, they don't have that potential, yet they are among the best countries in agriculture. When you talk about agriculture, we talk about Denmark, you talk about Israel. We have potential that are wasting away. Even our mountains are very, very fertile. You see trees. I went to Ikogosi. The mountain is lush green everywhere, just green. You can't even see what's on the mountain except the lush green vegetation. So we need to take advantage of what it has pleased God to bless us with. We need to do a lot more in the area of agriculture.
All right. Once again, well done, BKO, and thank you so much for your perspectives on the program today. Sadio, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for always. And thank you so much for watching, everyone. That's all on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Every major news story is with many perspective and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Our planet, our home, threatened by man's activities with fears of mass extinction on the rise. On Green Angle, we examine the issues that affect our environment, seek solutions to put us on track to secure and restore a cleaner and greener world for generations to come.
Get ready to drive into the world of the Nigerian Navy as Nigerian Navy in Focus, a captivating TV program, takes you deep into the heart of the activities of the nation's maritime centennial. Join us as we navigate the waters alongside the brave men and women of the Nigerian Navy who have dedicated their lives to this noble cause. Their hopes, dreams, sacrifices, and triumphs. Experience their courage, their resilience, and their unwavering commitment to serving the nation and protecting her waters and relentless pursuit of safeguarding our maritime borders. Let Nigerian Navy in Focus transport you to the seas, where bravery meets honor and the depths hold countless untold stories. Don't miss out on this unmissable TV experience. It is the Nigerian Navy in Focus, every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on Television Continental TVC.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. In Proverbs 28 verse 13, the Bible says, he that covereth his sin shall not prosper, but whosoever confess them and forsake them shall have mercy. Unbelief is sin, unforgiveness is sin, selfishness is sin. I want to let you know, pride is sin, contention, strife, giving malice, bearing grudge, lusting after evil thing, covetousness, love of money, love of the world, insincerity, disobedience, blasphemy, anger, envy, speaking evil of other people, backbiting, murmuring, cursing people, swearing with heaven and earth. All these are terrible sins. You must confess them, renounce them, and promise God no more.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, where the black gold continues to flow and fuel Africa's largest economy, where the line between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Oil, gas, politics, development, and community issues all are highly valuable commodities in the Niger Delta. How do they combine, and how can they work together to spawn a new era in the Niger Delta? Join award-winning ace broadcaster Mahmoud Felix Akuga on TVC News every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. and Saturdays at 3:30 p.m. as he probes deep to analyze issues in the region from angles never before explored. For sponsorship and participation, call us on 080-584-75898 or 080-205-40134 inside the Niger Delta with Mahmoud Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
You and Your Health with Dr. Richard Okoye, now on TVC News every Sunday by 3:30 p.m.
Hello, my great honor and indeed a pleasure to be with you today in this special edition of You and Your Health, a program sponsored by Dr. Save a Life Foundation, a non-governmental organization with a very clear vision of giving total health to the people of Africa through the power of knowledge. Today's edition is something you can't forget because a lot of our people are living terribly in pain. And as a matter of fact, many of us have not been able to experience what they call excruciating pain. Pain that we see unbearable. And this has been the experience of most people suffering arthritis or something related to the spine or something related to the waist. And you see that kind of pain, they will tell you that nothing else matters to them other than seeing a way to come out of this. Today also we're going to see the consequences or what could be a danger when you have a back pain and you leave that very back pain to continue to get worse. Something unimaginable could happen once, which I will also be able to tell us in this particular meeting. And today we are looking at a subject of knee, hip, and the back pain. Now, looking at their solution from the latest technology available to us. And for me to be in position to discuss this, it's a problem of many of our elders, some of us also even in younger age group, you see a number of pain. I want to encourage you to reach out to them. I will show you something that you won't imagine that this is available for us, even in a time like this. Please, can you do that? I'll be right back.
You and Your Health with Dr. Richard Okoye, now on TVC News every Sunday by 3:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You and Your Health, I remain your friend, Dr. Richard Okoye, the president of Dr. Save a Life Foundation. We are actually in a very bad time. When I use the word the bad time, when a scenario or a circumstance or economic depravity of any kind start crippling into the health of the people, there is a severe danger. Severe danger. And that's why it is important for us to be able to appreciate this. Having been privileged to be able to have a touch or one or two experiences of what happened local and international, I laugh it off when people will only be in their own country boasting what is happening in other countries without thinking it could be possible in their own. That it has come to a point, perhaps, as a form of somebody bragging. No, I do my health check in Dubai, I do my health check in London, I do my health check in UK, and I have my treatment. Nothing is good here. Please, I'm here to be able to not change your narrative, because it's up to you and perhaps you think you have money. But I will also show you certain conditions that may not even give you 1 minute. It will not give you a chance. You have an ambulance, yes. But if nothing is done, you can understand there is much more to you putting your health hope outside the country. But today we have an opportunity to see what has been able to make a lot of difference. And we're going to talk about this from the aspect of knee, the waist, and also the issue that has to do with the spine. The commonest thing you see among our elderly ones, particularly the women, because it seems to be more common with them, is the issue that has to do with knee. After giving birth, having a point to now realize to eat the fruit of their labor, pain of arthritis will come. If it is not in the knee, it is in the waist, and it's on the back, and the thing will be as if, you see, some people will walk. After walking for a while, for them to continue, they must sit. They have to sit down. Some people also will sit down, but to get up, they have to design the way and the manner. They have to gradually keep, and the thing will enter them before they make a move. Some people cannot imagine when night will be coming. So if they're going to sleep, they sleep on one particular corner where the pain is relatively less, and they will be able just to, and in the midst of the sleep, they turn without knowing. It will just end there. People live that way. And I'm not of the type that say that is what somebody has come up to live with. It's not old age package. In as much as God is involved, he said, I will satisfy you with long life. But when you look at the issue of longevity, and he used the word satisfaction, satisfaction actually means pleasurable. You're going to enjoy old age pleasurably. Come to think about it, how many of our 60-year-old mothers and fathers, boom, and going up there, how many of them are living, aging, and aging graciously, aging pleasurably? Majority of them, either in one move, some of them, their legs are already bent, and all kind of stuff. Today, I will first of all download all of the possible reason why this, that happen. Second one, we have to be conscious from today that when you have a back pain, friend, you don't need to just say, I'm managing it. Because there is something that could happen just one day. You needed only 24 hours to get it right. Otherwise, you'll be paralyzed for life. I will share that very thing to you when we go to that particular experience. And I know you may have seen people having different kinds of pain as this way. You have seen a number of people like this. And also, thereafter, you see a number of them in this very form. And you will hear some people say, there's somebody that did it, the person couldn't walk again. The person did a spine surgery, he couldn't walk again. I will give you what makes all the difference, what you see abroad, which is currently today being done in a number of centers still here in Nigeria. Friend, today, let us look at somebody that has something like a waist pain. Secondary to arthritis, I want to talk about the arthritis you normally hear. I will tell you, there are different kinds of arthritis. So you have the psoriasis, you have the gout, you have the rheumatoid arthritis, you have the also juvenile arthritis, and you have so many of them. If you number them, it could be up to 100 different names, but the name don't actually matter here. What matters is the issue of the one that is most common to us, which is the issue of osteoarthritis. Now, if you look at this is actually a hip bone. So, in terms of articulation, this very acetabulum does want about the name. This particular bigger bone in the waist, all right? Now, we join to this very leg, this small one, they call it a femur, all right? And two of them will join together. But there's something you should understand so that we explain to you that arthritis stuff. These two things come together, but towards the end of this very one, you discover there is something like shiny surface that usually cover them, all right, and cover the other side of it. The essence of that small, thick glass, that glass does not have nerves so that it doesn't cause pain. That nerve, that very glass is called cartilage, okay? But that very cartilage that is here, no big grammar, it is called biscuit bone. I think that one enter better, isn't it? This particular one is called biscuit bone. It covers the head. Most of us eat the meat, so you can understand that. And this very piece of glass and the other one need to be rubbing on each other, just gently. You can't feel pain, of course. In addition to that, God injected a fluid in between them, and that very fluid is called synovial fluid. The same you see when they cut cow, and on the joint, this cow leg, you see some draw things, you know. That same thing called synovial fluid is here. What's the essence of it? The essence of it is to help easy movement. Of course, you know, when you lubricate a particular place nicely, you know, come on, it doesn't have it, so you move. And this thing is trapped, that water is trapped inside, that draw thing, in such a manner, as long as you are alive, and that nothing happened to this biscuit bone and that fluid, you will never have pain all the days of your life, okay? So that defines why you see some people will live their life all through. They never had any problem because this very biscuit bone is waterproof. How does it happen? So it doesn't allow that small fluid that is draw to be absorbed into this. It doesn't allow any fluid from the leg also to go in there. Now, having understood that, that is all you can see in the issue of osteoarthritis. Now, looking at it further, this is a very heavy joint. You see how nice it is. But if you do a little shift, you can discover something unique here. All right? That this very biscuit bone is beginning to chop. All right? And when this thing chops off this very biscuit bone, at that moment, you hear the person will just get up. Sometimes as he's getting up, he crack, as if the ball rests inside don't scatter. All right? You will hear some cracking noise, you know, inside on trying to get up or making movements.